Another edition of Mark's Inspiration, The Power Is Within podcast. I am here tonight by myself. I was not even going to have a show tonight, but here I am. I figured I would come on for a little while and talk about procrastination. I have a house I have the home here, and I have another house in Hannibal, and I went up and worked on it today. Hadn't been up there for a while. I had been procrastinating about going up there because I had not been up there for a couple months. And the last time I was up there, the roof was leaking. I was pretty sure I got it fixed. And on one of the corners of the house, there were some bricks where the mortar's washing out, and I was concerned about them falling out. So as I'm thinking about going up there today, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, what if I get up there and it's been leaking and it's really caused some damage, or maybe those bricks have fallen out. But I made myself go up there, and I was glad I did because I enjoy doing that. I love working on old homes. So I went up there, and the bricks hadn't fallen out. The roof was not leaking because I fixed it very well last time I was there, and I was able to stop all the leaks. So my fears were totally unfounded, and that was what led to procrastination because I needed to go up there probably before I did today, but I put it off. Sometimes it's kind of like sticking your head in the sand. Like the ostrich, he puts his head in the sand, he thinks he's safe because he can't see anything. And too many times we do that. We have something we need to get done, and we just kind of ignore it because we're afraid to do it. And I'm telling you, everything that you desire, you're going to have fear standing between you and that. Opportunities will arise, and each opportunity that is presented to you, you're going to have to step through some fear to get to it. My son and I have talked quite a bit. I have four of my sons are fighting. Only one of them has had actually 2 matches. And every time before he gets ready to fight, he thinks, I really don't want to do this. I don't want to fight. But that's fear. Now, it's easy, obvious fears like, I don't know, if you got a dog after you, he's going to bite you. Somebody breaks into your house. If you're standing on a cliff looking over the edge, those are obvious fears. But fear has a way of dressing itself up into other things, if you like, or disguising itself. So what happens sometimes, like, and I've done this too, and I've explained this to my son, because when I was boxing, I would get hurt all the time. So what my fear drove me to do was to work out so hard that I didn't get to fight as much as a lot of the other people did. Because I was so afraid of looking bad, I actually self-sabotaged. So I actually trained too hard. Now, it's possible I did that because I was afraid I would look bad, but it's also possible I did that to self-sabotage so I wouldn't get to fight at all. So these subtle fears are a little more detrimental or dangerous or difficult to how do I say, to discover or to realize what they are. Like I said with my son, he before the fight, he's like, I don't really know if I want to do this or not, but he realizes that's fear. So anytime you have an adversity or a challenge, you may do something like this. You may say, well, I'll do that tomorrow, or I'll do that after the kids graduate from high school. I'll do that after I meet that woman and, I fall in love. I'll do that after I retire. I'll do that after I get a little more money or when I get that raise. These are all procrastination. This is fear. And we make excuses for our fears. And those excuses, what do they say? Do you want excuses or do you want results? Anytime you procrastinate, you need to look and think, what am I afraid of? What am I afraid of? Or if you've been doing something and you really enjoy it, but you start thinking, well, I don't know if I want to do this or not. You want to make sure that there's not a fear there disguised as something else, as an excuse or as rationalization, because we rationalize away many things. You want to approach that girl. What do? Instead of immediately approaching her, which is your intuitive thought or your first impression, we'll say, you think, well, she looks like she's busy. I don't know if she'd want to talk to me. Um, she's probably got a boyfriend, or was that a ring on her finger? She's married. And what are you doing? You're rationalizing away your intuitive nudge to go talk to her, what you really wanted to do. And that's just fear. You're afraid of rejection. So you dress it up so you can live with yourself. I mean, think about some of the things, I don't care which side of politics you're on, but let's look at some of those things, how they dress those things up. They make it look like it's something other than it's not. Politicians are great at that. And we do the same thing. We have to live with ourselves, and none of us likes to think of ourselves as being afraid or being a coward. But anytime that I don't do something that I really want to do, and I make an excuse, I'm really giving in to cowardice instead of following on my desires. Because I believe if you have goals, you do have written goals, don't you? If you don't, write down your goals. And you take those goals, every day you look at them in the morning and in the evening. Some people look at them at lunchtime too, but twice a day is plenty. And think about yourself having already achieved that goal. You don't have to spend as much time on that as I do. I spend a lot of time doing that, but just 5 minutes a day in the morning and in the evening. And feel what that would be like to have achieved that goal and actually imagine, just like a little kid, pretend, daydream about achieving that goal. Okay, and do that for about 5 minutes, get a real good feeling about it, and then just let it go and go about your day. And maybe if during the day you're struggling or you're having negative thoughts, you may think about your goal. Think about what you want rather than what you don't want to happen. Okay, and if you do that, what will happen is during the day and during the week, the month, in the days ahead, opportunities will be given to you. And you have to be prepared for these opportunities. Prepared mentally to face the fear, and prepared physically, whatever that may be, depending on what kind of goals you have set. So when opportunity meets preparedness, that's when people are called lucky. He's so lucky. Look at that guy just came up to. Let's say somebody who's been practicing. My daughter, she's singing, and she's in these pageants. Okay, and she got picked out of the last weekend. She got picked to be in another show. Okay, it was 50% of the people got picked, 50% didn't. Okay, she prepared for that. So she was ready she was ready for the interview. Now she has another one in 2 weeks, but it's up another level. And of course she's nervous, but she's preparing herself. When you prepare yourself and the opportunity arises, you can feel the fear, but the fear doesn't overpower you because you've prepared for it in advance, mentally and physically if need be. Very important to be prepared. What happens to a guy if he gets in a ring and he's not prepared? He gets the crap beat out of him. Well, if you're in the ring of life and you're not prepared, when your opportunity arises, you more or less get the crap beat out of you. Not literally, but by life. Life will beat you down. And have you ever seen people that are beaten down by life? They're miserable, they're unhappy, they're cynical, they have nothing good to say. And I can understand how that happens to people. I've had life has beat me down pretty good a lot of times, but I've gotten back up. And that is the only difference between a loser and a winner. The winner gets back up again after he gets knocked back down. He gets up again, over and over and over again. That's the only difference. The winner fails a lot of times, and the loser fails. The difference is the winner gets back up to fail again. He's willing to fail until he achieves what he desires. And then when people see it, they think, man, he's so lucky. Man, look at him. He's so lucky. He's not lucky. If you persist in something and face those fears and look at procrastination when it arises and find out what it is you're afraid of, and overcome that fear, you can achieve anything you want in life. I'm not talking about some desire you have just for a couple days or a week or a month. I'm talking about something that you really want, and you want it badly enough to fail trying to achieve it time and time again. You get back up every time life knocks you down, and when it looks like there's no way and you have no idea how you're ever going to achieve something, you get up and you keep moving forward. Even if it's some small thing like picking up a book and reading a page, or calling someone, or watching a YouTube video, you continue to press on. And that's what makes the difference between winners and losers. Winners also self introspect. Is that the word? Self introspect or introspect? Anyway, they do inventory of themselves. They look within themselves to know themselves, to find out what's going on inside, because they know they can't really change the outer world unless they change the inner world first. They take responsibility for everything. They are not victims. They consider themselves victors because they face things, they overcome them, they walk through them, they don't, well, sometimes maybe they have to go around them. They press forward every day, day in, day out. I wasn't going to do a video today because I went up there and worked on my old home. I didn't plan on doing that. I got home late, and that's some hard work. I love hard work. I've been working on this place for 5 years. I thought I would have it done in a year and a half. But the house I'm living in right now, I had a dream about this house. Gosh, back in 1997, I bought it the first time. And I've got a lot of rock walls, beautiful fountain, flower garden statues. I got like 7 or 8 statues around here. Gigantic entryway, brick, were they like 4 by 4 by 6 or 8 feet tall with giant statue lions sitting on top of them. It's really extravagant. Okay, I had a dream about that when I lived here in 97, and I lost this house in 2000. But I visualized that over and over and over. I never thought I would be back here. Well, in 2000, and I guess it was like 13 maybe, or 12. I can't remember exactly what year. I just happened to run into somebody, and he owned the house. He was an old friend, and he had been renting it out, and he asked me if I wanted to buy it. Well, at that time, I think I'd just gotten off of welfare in 2011 or 12 because I was taking care of my father, and I couldn't work. And I had 6 kids, was raising them by myself, and so I thought I couldn't buy it. I can't get a loan. He said, "I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll finance it for you for a year." I think he said, with a balloon note, and then you can get a loan after a year. I said, "Well, okay." So anyway, I bought the house, and long story short, I've been here 8 or 9 years since then, and I finished off everything that I told you I was doing. And it actually turned out better, and it's more beautiful than I ever dreamed before. All that time that those seeds lay dormant from 2000, I lost it in 2000, from 2000 until 2013, I think, or 2012. I used to sit over in the park before I bought it back the second time, and I would look at it, but I never really thought about living here again. But yet that was so imprinted in my subconscious mind from years ago, visualizing it, dreaming it, thinking about it, and working on it at the time too, that eventually came to pass. It took a long time. Now, it probably would have come to pass quicker, but I got sidetracked and I got pulled off of what I was wanting to do. So that's something else you have to watch out for too when you have goals set. You have to be careful that you don't get sidetracked. And that happens to men a lot of times. And what usually sidetracks a man is a woman. Because a man moving toward his purpose, stepping through the fears, stepping through or going through the bridges of incidences and moving towards his goals is a very attractive man. Women are very attracted to a man who has a vision. A vision besides going out and chasing tail and getting laid. They know if a man is doing something with his life besides chasing women. And that's the kind of man that they want to be with. When you're doing that, You do not have to go out and chase women. Women will chase you. Opportunities for women will arise. But what you have to remember is to keep your mind and your focus on your vision. The woman is complementary. Don't get too focused on her and let your focus be pulled away from your vision or your goals. Because what will happen is she'll start to feel like you're putting her up there above your goals. And how do I know this? Because I've done it before and I've worked with other guys that have done the very same thing. This is a very common thing for men to do. And this is what happens a lot of times when men get married. They get the girl, they're married, and they think, well, all I got to do now is go to work. Everything's cool. I got her. I got it all wrapped up. I got that ring on that finger. And as a lot of you guys know, at least here in the West, that doesn't guarantee anything. There's no, marriage is not valued like it used to be. So if she gets a little bored with you and she's not very committed, she's going to start looking around for somebody like you who has a vision like you had when she met you. Women are more attracted to, how do I say, what you are, what you're doing. But what you're doing is a reflection of what you are. And if you're not doing anything, then she starts looking at you like, I don't have much here. What have I got here? I got a guy that goes to work. Yeah, he pays the bills. Yeah, he takes care of the kids and me. But he just comes home and sits on the couch and watches the Kardashians or whatever you watch. Whatever's on the TV. I don't watch TV. She starts wondering if she's got the best that she can get. And unless she comes from an extremely stable family, which mom and dad stayed married for a lot of years, maybe a religious family, she may not want to honor that commitment. She may start thinking that she made a mistake, that she could do better. Especially if she's young enough, in good enough shape, then she's probably going to start looking around. Or at the very least, not wanting to be with you physically anymore. And then you're going to start wondering what's going on. But what's going on is you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. I know a lot of guys out there want to blame the woman. They always want to blame the woman. Well, you better take a look at yourself because you're not going to change her. You can't change her. You can only change yourself. And if she was attracted to you enough to marry you or to start going steady with you, that's what we used to say, or to be exclusive with you, and she's not wanting to be exclusive now, you got to ask yourself, why? Why is she not attracted to me now like she was when I first started seeing her? You changed. That's why. You're different. You're not being the man that she fell in love with. You're not being the man that she thought was the prize. You've become lazy. You sit on the couch and maybe sometimes you think about doing something, but you procrastinate. I don't want to go out and do that. I'll do that later. I'll do that next week. I'll do that when I feel like it. Well, what you feel like has very little to do with it. Andrew Tate talks about that, and I agree 100%. My son doesn't feel like he wants to fight anymore, but he's going to fight because he knows that has nothing to do with it. I didn't feel like going up to Hannibal today and working on my other home, but I did it. I didn't feel like making a video tonight, but here I am, I'm doing it. It's commitment. I've been doing this podcast for about 2 years now. I've been doing the YouTube videos for about 3 years now. I'll say it positively, I'm getting close to 2,000 subs. It's been a lot of work. Sometimes I think, is anybody watching? Is anybody really listening to what I got to say? And then, lo and behold, somebody will put something down. Man, that video really helped me. And it just gives you a little just keep pressing on. I mean, when you see these guys that's got 1 million subscribers or however many, they didn't start out yesterday. They didn't blow up overnight. Everything takes time. Everything takes time. When you see the Olympic gold medalist up there, you see the 15 seconds? I mean, if he's a marathon runner, you're talking 2 hours and 10 minutes of his performance. A weightlifter, he does one lift. You know how many hours he spent in the gym? Do you know how many times he was injured? How many times he thought maybe he was never going to be able to compete again? You don't see that. You just see the let's say he does one lift. You see the 5 seconds or how whatever it takes of glory, and you don't see the 5, the 10, the 15 years of training and the nights he went to bed wondering if he was going to recover from this injury. You don't see that. You see the glory, you see the moment. And then not you guys, but some of them other people out there think, man, he's lucky. And luck don't have anything to do with it. He put in the time. He was willing to fail. It's like staying in shape. I have not been able to work out, have a decent workout for over a year now because I got a neck injury. Just out of the blue. I can't run. I can't do much of anything. I can do leg raises and some neck exercise. That's it. I don't like it. I don't like it. But I've been hurt before through the years. This isn't the first time I've had an injury that's kept me from working out. So when you see me, I'm in good shape. I got a 6-pack. Some people say I have an 8-pack. Right now, success is not luck. Luck has little to do with it. Now, you will get breaks and you will get opportunities, but that's not even luck. These opportunities are drawn to you because of what you are envisioning. It's like a magnet. You become a magnet for what you want, or you become a magnet for what you don't want, depending on what your dominant thinking is. What is your dominant thinking? Are you thinking about what you're afraid of? Or are you thinking about what you need to do, but you're procrastinating? If you're doing that, then you're actually subconsciously, on an unconscious level, thinking about what you're afraid of and what you need to do, what you should do. How about we change that to what we could do? And you can always do more. But I will say this about the doing more. The one more rep, the one more mile, you got to be careful with that because there are some people like myself. I was the guy that you didn't need to say, do one more round or do one more rep. I was the guy you need to say, hey, do one less rep. You don't need to work out that much because I was always hurting myself. That's why it's good to have someone like a coach or a mentor that's not emotionally involved with your goals and your dreams that can kind of keep you in line. Because if you really want something really bad, a lot of times you have a tendency to do too much instead of not enough. You put out effort in the wrong direction or too much effort in a certain direction, and you can burn yourself out or get hurt. So the guy that works harder is not necessarily the guy that's going to win. I know there's a lot of that on social media. You just got to work no days off. That's not true. Your body, as far as physical sports, different things like that, your body rejuvenates, recuperates, and builds muscle on rest days. You need rest days. You need days off. Hard work's important, but you need days off also. You need time for meditation. You need time for contemplation. You need time to rest your body and your mind. And I'm not talking about sitting in front of the TV, getting drunk, and watching whatever. I don't know what shows are on. Whatever shows that people like to watch. I'm talking about spending some time by yourself and looking at your life, looking at your goals, contemplating where you are, where you want to be, and just taking that in, quieting your mind. Everything comes from your mind. The fear comes from your mind. We are only born with two fears, the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. All these other ones that you got, you learned those from somebody. We've learned these fears. We fear what people will think of us. We fear what people will do to us. We watch the media, the news, and we're scared to go out of the house. The last 2 or 3 years is obvious. Look how that fear was used to control people. And as time passes and we learn more about that, it really wasn't any worse than, well, I better stay away from that subject. I've already got one warning about a video I made. I don't know why, but so we'll bypass that. But you understand the power of fear, the power of the spoken word, the power of the repetition of the message over and over and over again. Well, as powerful as that was to the masses around the world, you can use that same power of repetition, autogenic training is called, autosuggestion, self-hypnosis, to program yourself to become successful with affirmations. Now, when you use these affirmations, the more feeling you can put into it, the more they imprint your subconscious mind, which is really what controls you during the day. Think about this. Did you have to stay awake all night last night to make sure you breathed? Did you have to regulate all the food you ate to distribute all the vitamins and minerals throughout your body? Did you have to keep your heart beating for the blood to keep pumping? You don't do any of that. There's a part of you that does that. You have a more complex computer system inside of you regulating chemicals throughout your body than we could ever even create here on this earth. Maybe someday, but I doubt it. I doubt if you could ever do that. You don't have to think about that. It's all done for you. There's a part of you that does that for you. Well, how do you think about these birds that fly from, where do they fly from? Halfway around the world to Capistrano or something. What are they? I can't remember. The swallows? The swallows, I think. And then whales, they swim halfway across the ocean. How do they know how to get there? Well, you're much more efficient and more intelligent, and you have a guidance system in you. When you set a goal, you don't have to consciously think about how you're going to get there. And that's what happens to a lot of people. They don't know how they're going to get there, so they don't set a goal. They don't start. They don't take that first step. Think about this. I don't know how old you are. Maybe you're 18, 20, 25, 50, 60, 45. Did you know when you were born how you were going to get to where you are today? How you were going to survive? How you were going to get food? How you were going to get money? No, you didn't know anything. But here you are. Here you are. So who did that for you? Did you have to consciously figure all that out before you started? No, you didn't. So who did that? There's a part of you, God if you like, the God part of you, or God, whatever your conception of that is, that knows exactly what you need, knows exactly how to get to where you want to go. But you have to cooperate. You have to set a destination. Think about a ship that sets off from the harbor. It has no destination. Where's it going to go? It's going to sail all over the ocean and probably never get anywhere. If the wind blows, it goes this way. The wind blows, it goes that way. And how about you in life? Storms of life come along and you have no destination. Even a ship, if it has a destination during the storms, it may get blown off course a little bit, but it gets back on course because it knows where it's going. Do you know where you're going? Do you know where you're going? Do you know where you want to go? If you don't, you might want to decide. Because if you don't know where you're going, if you don't have an agenda, guess what's going to happen to you? First off, everybody out there is trying to put their agenda into your mind. And that's not for your best interest. It's for theirs. Why not program yourself with your own agenda? Why not set a goal for you? If you don't have goals, you'll end up working for people who do have goals. I know that from experience. I've worked for people, and now I don't work for people, but I have people working for me because I have written goals. And if I sit here and told you that every day I look at those goals and I think, yeah, I'm going to get there. No, I don't always feel like that. But I know that I will get to my destination or something better. But I can't be led to something better unless I move forward towards something. You can't lead anyone or anything or anybody if they're not moving. You got to get up, you got to take that first step, you got to move in a direction. And in this case, if you don't have goals, you want to write something down, write down where you want to be in 5 years, write down where you want to be in a year, write down where you want to be in 10 years. Do you understand why most people don't write down their goals? Because they become real. And then they're responsible for doing something to move toward those goals. As long as you keep it floating around in your head, it's really not real. But once you write it on paper, it becomes tangible. So my suggestion, as you know, write down your goals. Less than 1% of people in the world have written goals. Do you want to be in the top 1%? Write your goals down, and you will be in the top 1% of successful people. And what about success? What is success? I've said it before and I'll say it again. Earl Nightingale. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. Does he say success is when you get to that destination, when you get that car, that house, that woman, that motorcycle, that $1,000,000, that raise? No, the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. It means success is when you're moving toward the goal, not when you achieve the goal. Now, if you look on social media, of course, they put Elon Musk out there, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Jeff Bezos. But do you notice those guys aren't just sitting around doing nothing? Because they know that success is the progressive realization. They know that they have to keep moving because that's success. That's fulfillment. Not when you achieve the goal. There's a certain elation or a certain feeling of, oh, this is great. But that's short-lived. It lasts a couple days at the most. Maybe a few hours, depends. I've reached a lot of my goals. Everything I've ever wanted, I've achieved. And the things I thought I wanted that I didn't achieve, looking back in retrospect, down the road, I thought, man, I'm glad I didn't get that. Or I got something different. I'm thinking, this is what I really wanted. But you have to trust not your conscious mind. Trust God. Trust your superconscious. Trust divinity. Whatever that means to you. I trust God. Now, when I talk about God, I'm not a religious guy. I just use that word because there's a power greater than myself. I believe it's in me, it's in you. It speaks to me through you, through situations, through people, sometimes through my intuitive thoughts. And a lot of guys, Einstein, I think Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, talked about that. And some of the great inventors, I think Marconi was one of them, talked about how sometimes they would get ideas or insights from out of nowhere. They just, out of the blue, as they say. Well, that's what I'm talking about. There's something in the blue that can speak to you in many different ways to guide you, to get you, to give you the answers you need so you can achieve what it is you want. And it's okay to want things, and you deserve it. You got to ask yourself, do you feel like you deserve what you want? Because if you don't, you will self-sabotage it. You will destroy your chances, and if you get it, you'll mess it up and you'll lose it. You have to become the person that is able to handle whatever it is you desire. And it's not so much about what you get in life, it's about the person you become. So when you visualize yourself having your goal, visualize yourself and feel like you are the type of person that would have whatever it is that you want to have. And if you're not sure, find a person who has what you want and use him as a mold, as to copy him. Now, I'm not saying be exactly like him, but watch how he lives, how he talks, what he does, and use that as a mold, so to speak, so you can become the kind of person. Because you must first become, you must have the consciousness of the type of person that you want to become before you can ever handle whatever it is that that type of person has that you want. All right, I'm going to stop it now. I got a meeting to go to at 7 o'clock. I want to thank you guys for joining me, and I hope this has been of value to you, and I will catch you next Saturday. See if we can get a guest on next Saturday. Thanks again. Like and subscribe. Take care.